And it seems The Simpsons just can't wait for next season to deal with Donald Trump.
I see that I myself am about to be arrested for corruption. You will have to take it from here, Peter.
The Simpsons is just one of those sitcoms that no matter how much you try to avoid, you can't escape. It has become such an integral part of pop culture that it has seeped into every facet of entertainment. The Simpsons have become infamous in their own right for predicting some of the biggest global events that have taken place. Today, we're going to look at the most shocking predictions The Simpsons have set aside for 2024 and 2025. What sort of shocking global events have The Simpsons predicted this time? Will it be catastrophic, or is there hope for the future? Let's find out together. Number 1. Nuclear reactor meltdown. Man has always found newfound ways to destroy each other, but perhaps the most cruel has been with nuclear bombs. Although we've been able to find a positive use for this form of energy and use it to power our homes, the threat of nuclear radiation poisoning always lies around the corner, waiting to strike. Over the course of history, since the advent of nuclear energy, we have had some of the worst accidents that have happened to humankind. We have all heard of the Chernobyl incident where, due to inexperienced staff, bad infrastructure, and faulty reactor machinery, one of the worst nuclear meltdowns happened. The meltdown was of such a large scale that the world still suffers from its effect today.
Been a nuclear accident near the Soviet Union and Chernobyl reactor 4, the scene of the total meltdown.
That explosion at a nuclear plant in the Soviet Union.
Nuclear reactor in Ukraine's Chernobyl power plant.
Explosions powerful enough to blow up.
The nuclear radiation poisoning was so bad that the area is still unfit for human occupation. And then the same thing happened again in 2011 on an island called Fukushima in Japan, where there were even more casualties.
Japan has been hit by its biggest earthquake since
An
records
explosion
began.
was heard and smoke seen at the power plant.
The images of destruction and flooding coming out of Japan are simply heartbreaking.
It goes to show that the payoff on nuclear energy is only as good as the crew and machinery it's operated on. Well, how does this tie into The Simpsons, you ask? Well, you may not like it. We can see that in Season 3, Episode 5, called Homer Defined, Homer, who works at a nuclear power plant, saves the plant from having a meltdown by the skin of his teeth. When the nuclear reactor starts going haywire, Homer just pauses a button randomly that prevents the reactor from collapsing completely. It follows the same trope where Homer is praised for his stupidity, which eventually backfires on him. But perhaps there is more to this episode than meets the eye? Could this perhaps be an ominous warning to us from the past predicting an inevitable reactor meltdown that is going to take place in the near future? This is one of those predictions no one wants to find out if it'll come true or not. Number 2, artificial intelligence takes over.
This week we'll turn our attention to employment and what impact AI could have on the world of work. Well, according to this CNN Business article, AI is replacing human tasks faster than you might think.
It started happening, and now none of us can stop it. Artificial intelligence is slowly taking over the workplace, and none of us can do anything to stop it. Many of us who have been working our jobs for several years have arrived at work one day to be told that we'll be replaced by an AI that is much more efficient than us. We definitely did not see this happening anytime soon, and considering it a thing of the distant future. But do you know who saw this coming from a mile away and tried to warn us? That's right, The Simpsons. If we trace back to the episodes and go back to Season 23, Episode 17 of The Simpsons, we can see that the episode is hilariously named Thumb Robot, which is a clever little reference to the most significant piece of literature related to robots and artificial intelligence, iRobot. In this episode, we can see that when Homer shows up to his job at the nuclear power station, he and the rest of the staff have been completely replaced with robots by Homer's boss, Mr. Burns. Although the plot follows the same trope as every other Simpsons episode, it's difficult to watch this episode not without thinking, hey, that's exactly what's happening to us. Just take a look at society today. We can see that our jobs are slowly being replaced by AI. The higher-ups have already begun to use AI at the grassroots level and are definitely looking to hand off as much work as they can to robots, making us obsolete. But you want to know what's even crazier? The Simpsons aired an even older episode in 1994 where they showed AI going haywire and attacking everyone. If AI is beginning to be developed by the military, I think it's time to seriously give heed to a Skynet-level event actually occurring. I mean, the Army has already developed weapons that use AI to find enemies and eliminate them. If the AI in it decides everyone is its enemy, it'll take us all down. Were the Simpsons trying to warn us all along? Guess it's a bit late for warnings now. So what do you think about the predictions made by the Simpsons this far? Do you think these events are highly likely to take place? Let us know in the comment section what you think. Now let's check out the last 2 terrifying predictions made by the Simpsons. Number 3. Possible economic collapse. Remember the global economic depression the country went through in 2008? It was a really bad time for the entire world, especially the United States, as many people found themselves having to sell the things they needed for just basic amenities. People weren't ready for such a collapse because they didn't see it coming. But this time, the Simpsons have given us a forewarning. In the episode Bart to the Future, we can see Lisa take over the Oval Office as President of the United States. But guess who the predecessor to Lisa was? You won't believe it. It's Donald Trump. The episode shows that Lisa had inherited a very bad economic collapse that occurred due to Trump's policies, and it's up to her to figure out now. But is there any chance such a prediction may come true? Well, if we take a look at the world around us right now, it definitely isn't showing any promise of economic growth. Prices are still on the rise and basic amenities are getting costlier by the second. Is The Simpsons warning us of an impending Trump presidency that will bring the United States of America to its knees before the first woman president comes to fix the wrongs done by the Trump administration? I mean, everything is lined up just right. Just take a look at the similarities between Lisa Simpson and Kamala Harris. The resemblance is uncanny. They're even wearing the same outfit. Could this be a possible warning as to what would happen if Trump is elected in 2024? We'll just have to wait and see. Number 4. Zombie apocalypse. The last couple of years, you have seen an uptick in the amount of zombie-based media that has been released. Pop culture has always gone mad at the idea of zombies, and that is a fact. The idea of the undead rising out of their graves to terrorize the living is certainly not a novel concept, but one that is given a new chance at life by spinning the origin tales of the zombies. Recent shows like The Last of Us have taken a very scientific approach as to how zombies may come about. The Last of Us have combined the ideas of a fungus that can take over the human body and global warming to produce the most terrifying form of zombies yet. And you want to know what the scariest part is? This fungus that The Last of Us uses in its show is very real. But what have the Simpsons said about the zombie apocalypse that we should pay attention to? Well, in their 20th annual Halloween special called Treehouse of Horror 20, we can see that the city of Springfield had completely been taken over by a zombie apocalypse. And how does this apocalypse start, you ask? Well, it spreads when one person takes a bite of a burger with infected meat. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly how The Last of Us has also predicted the zombie apocalypse happening. We can see that the fungus named cordyceps, or however it's pronounced, is very real and can take over insects and small animals. Is a zombie apocalypse inevitable? Well, we'll just have to hope and pray that the Simpsons were wrong about this one.